would like to start today talking a little bit about the thinking and work that's been going on in the foundation relating to engineering strategy, primarily with a view to driving product quality. See if I can change my slide. Sorry?
You have to speak up a little bit.
Oh, I've got the microphone right in front of me here. Can everybody hear me okay? I'll speak up a bit.
We can.
Okay, so
Yep, we can, James.
thank you. Just a quick recap on some of the basics. This shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Moduloop software is made of many products. There are lots of different components that make up the Moduloop software. The creation, evolution, maintenance, and use of those involves a lot of engineering effort. But like any good product, Moduloop software has to serve a clearly defined purpose and do it well. Software engineering is a complex but well-studied and practiced domain from which we can extrapolate good practices that help us engineer the best possible products. And as a general philosophy, it's our view that we should try to learn from the mistakes of others so we avoid repeating them. That means taking our lead from the literature and experience to find the best practice and apply it to what we do in Moduloop. Another quick recap of how Moduloop software is produced. This is a bit of a generalization, and some of you might realize there are some differences in the way some things happen. But ideally, our product would start with the product council defining what our requirements are. Then work streams being formed to further define and deliver those products, usually in collaboration with many other groups around the community. Then some people, community members, do the engineering work to create those outputs. And ideally, if those outputs meet the various requirements, they're accepted into an official Moduloop release. Sam's going to talk a little bit about some clarification and thinking and tweaks to the release process in a few minutes. But I just want to state what I think is a basic principle, restate actually what I think is one of the basic principles. The good software products start with a good product definition. We need to clearly understand what it is we're trying to make and make sure that that's well aligned with what our users want and need from our products. Paul is going to give a presentation later in the week, currently scheduled for Thursday. I would encourage you all to pay a good deal of attention to Paul's presentation. He's going to talk about some very important things in terms of defining the product and making sure it fits well with what our adopters are asking for, what they need in their markets. But a quick summary, there are three pillars that have been previously talked about in the community, where all our efforts are being focused currently. 1, to make adoption easier. 2, to achieve scale. And 3, to connect to other systems. There's a lot of detail and nuance hidden under each one of those. And please do watch Paul's presentation for more information on that. The fourth overriding pillar there, quality product. That's super important from an engineering perspective. Thinking about the quality of what we're trying to build as early as possible in our process means we spend less time, effort, and money having to fix things when they go wrong. Product-driven work streams should ideally ladder up to our organizational objectives. It's important that the work we do has some clear link to an objective of the Moduloop project. Be that trying to make adoption easier by adding features or simplifying deployment patterns, for example. You should, when you're working in a work stream, you should be able to draw a clear line in your mind from the day-to-day work you're doing and those high-level organizational objectives. Paul's going to talk more about how we're planning to make that easier going forward. From an engineering perspective, though, if work streams follow certain practices, the best practice that we learn from industry, then we have a better chance of creating quality outputs. Simeon's been doing some work with the Community Council to further define the governance framework around work streams. You can expect a document to be circulated in the community over the coming couple of weeks. And that document will lay out what we think the future vision is for how we run work streams, how we try to ensure that those work streams follow good engineering practice and deliver quality outcomes. Right now, we have a set of adoption criteria, and we use those to set the bar for our engineering quality. And those talk about things like test coverage for code, documentation levels, and lots of other things as well. Something the software engineers among you might have heard about over the past few years is shift left. And the principle of shift left is to start thinking about quality earlier, because the later you worry about quality, the later you find bugs, the more expensive and detrimental it is to your programs. So in the coming weeks and months, the second half of the year, the Mojaloop Foundation, myself, Sam, Paul, and hopefully you guys out in the community should be looking out for initiatives and things we can do to shift our focus on quality further left in our process. And that means really to start thinking about that during the product definition phase. So product council, and watch out, I'm coming along and I will be talking about quality a lot. So as a quick summary, we want to be product driven to meet our objectives. Again, I want to reinforce the idea that the work you do, the community do on a day-to-day basis, should have a clear link to our high-level organization objectives and best practice engineering concerns. We're going to try to embed those in a clear workstream governance framework. Keep an eye out for that. Engineers, please work closely with Product Council to help define what quality means for the work you're doing. Obviously, quality has different meanings in different situations, so please participate as much as possible. The second point, shift left. Yeah, let's look to our adoption criteria early in our development process, but let's try to continuously improve those criteria as well. They're pretty far-reaching at this point in time, but there's always room for improvement. So please reach out with any feedback, anything you think we could be doing better on those adoption criteria. So I think, yeah, at this point I'm going to hand over to Sam, who's going to talk a little bit about release process and the progress in thinking in that space.
Thank you, Jim. Let me share my screen. Can you hear me? So what is Mojaloop? I think it's becoming one of the rhetorical questions with many answers these days. I think if you ask Steve, Paul, we get interesting answers with that. Okay, I don't want to go into that question, but we'd like to look into what is Mojaloop platform. So we talk about the Mojaloop Helm release. Recently, we had the Mojaloop 15.10 released. So what is, and then in the platform, you'll see that we have many more than just the Mojaloop core. Deploying a Mojaloop core and saying this is Mojaloop, this is all we need, would be grossly inaccurate. As we can see, as James covered earlier, there are many different things that go into deploying Mojaloop, especially if it is better than Dev QA or staging environment. So in the previous community events we had, where there were the placemats, in the component diagrams, we see many different things. I think we'll see in the later days as well. It's not just the core that supports instant clearing, settlement, lookup, bulk functionality, and account lookup. But we also have third-party components. We have connectors, simulators. We need a gateway that can provide for capabilities like IP filtering, whitelisting, ingress, egress, firewall, security support, supporting the modular recommended security design. In our infrastructure as code, we have this through WSO2. Our gateways can be implemented as well, but they need to provide similar functionality. And then we have several supporting services. We have the modular testing toolkit, then PM4ML instances, RIM managers, simulators, account lookup supporting oracles and adapters for that, central event processing, several community tools, and we also need tool support for onboarding FSPs as well, and the tooling for backend operations. We need infrastructure, we use Kubernetes, and then scripts such as a mini loop, infrastructure as code, brancher, automatic deployment, Helm charts, images, those kind of things. Then, of course, finance portal as well. In addition, we also need monitoring support. I think we had from Fana, Prometheus, Grafana, and Loki, things like that. So, yeah, well, all this. I don't want to go into detail into that, but I just want to give a high-level overview of that. Then the release process itself. So far, it's been a community-led approach, especially technical work-stream-led, in collaboration with, obviously, and guidance from Product Council and the DA. With the DA sets the technical guidelines and the criteria, and the Product Council guidelines on feature selection by selecting the active work streams, providing guidance in what features are to be supported and implemented. So we can look at the release of those. Some examples here. And then there is an iterative process where the work streams are selected, they work on features, and once they're release ready, they're included in the release candidate. And then after several iterations of the release candidate, when it looks good, the bugs are fixed, then the release is made. Obviously, this is an evolving area. There are several different things we want to improve on and enhance. For example, we want to make it more predictable by working on the scheduling timelines in the coming PIs. Freezing of feature bug fixes by a certain timeline, providing expectations to the work stream. Document our criteria better and also revisit that at the DA. Streamline some release numbers between various components included so that everyone knows what is included and what is compatible. For example, on Finance Portal and modular releases, we want to achieve better streamline alignment. And then we also want to document the tests and several support mechanisms. Sometimes there may be migration, documentation, or guidance, things like that. We also have a bug triage lifecycle. If bug is logged, triage is done, and then based on the priority and severity is included in a sprint or recommended for a work stream, then it's fixed and tested as well. We'll go into this detail in one of the upcoming sessions, I think tomorrow, but want to have this pipeline view as well to show where we are now and how we've come to this point, and another view with where we are now and what the future looks like. This will be based on our roadmap sessions, Product Council input, and the active work streams and their technical delivery items as well. I will stop there for now. We'll take any questions on the chat window, but that's all from me. Thank you, James.
Thank you, Sam. So I think the next session is me as well, actually. So I'm just... Sorry, I've got to turn my video. I'll jump straight back in. So, before I launch into the next session, I would like to offer the opportunity for questions on anything that Sam or I have talked about so far. Unfortunately, while I'm sharing, I can't see the chat. I'm going to have to look at it now.
If anyone has any questions, please just pop them in the chat. Or if there's a really burning one and you want to ask it, you can come off. I'll just raise your hand or two minutes. Video.
I shall move on.
Miller has a question in the chat. Will the railroad diagram fund should be available?
Yes, all of the artifacts, documents that we talk about today between Sam and I will be published, yes, either in GitHub or on the community website shortly after close of business this week.
For those of you who may not be aware, we do have a link on GitHub. I put that in the chat where all the slide decks will be updated for the entire activity. So please do keep checking that link. So all the presentations will be updated. I'll put it in the chat. Actually, there. Sample of it.